Writing a position description does not have to be hard. Hey, I am Chuck the Bureaucrat, and today I'm going to walk you through the process of writing a government civilian's position description. Now, if you have ever done this, you know that it can be an incredibly frustrating experience if you just sit down with pen and paper and try to do it on your own. But there is an incredibly slick technique that takes advantage of existing guidance to make this an almost painless process. I mean, almost. Okay, so the focus today is on writing a civilian position description, but I'm going to put a link in the description that takes you to a video on how to use this information and these techniques so that you can reverse engineer your resume for federal jobs. This all starts by knowing that there is a human resources agency that oversees the entire federal government, and it's called the Office of Personnel Management, or OPM. And they set the standards for all federal hiring. Not only are these the people who require you that if you're going to hire a civilian, you have to have a position description, but they're the ones who provide the standards that that position description has to meet. Now, a position description is really just a list of the major job duties and responsibilities and how much supervision goes along with it. And that all makes sense, but the Office of Personnel Management has tools that define how all of that has to be described. They even have a handbook that classifies civilian federal jobs sort of in the same way that the military services classify their branches or their occupational specialties. Now, you guys know that I'm an operations research kind of guy. And what that means is that I've spent most of my career writing position descriptions for that operation research series. So that is what I'm going to be using in this example. Anyways, in OPM's handbook, they provide a general description of the types of duties and tasks that every position does. But trust me, that is just the beginning. If you click on that link that says Operations Research, it takes you to a whole nother manual that provides tons of detail in how to write a position description for this series. And now we start to get to the real time saver. If you take a look at the table of contents, and particularly part 2, you'll see that there are 9 factors. And here's the thing that nobody tells you the first time that you sit down to write a position description. Your position description has to explicitly address each of these 9 factors. And the words that are used to describe these factors, they determine the grade of the position. GS7, GS9, GS12, it's in the words. And even better, this manual provides the exact words that should be used to describe the position. All right, are you feeling intimidated? Well, you shouldn't be, because look at the title of this manual, Job Position Standards. This is the guide that will be used to judge your position description. Now, when you dive into this manual, what you're going to find is that for each factor, there are multiple levels. And for each level, the manual gives you specific phrases to be used. And now, check this out. Do you see how there are points associated with each factor and level combination? Well, once you've written up every factor and determined the level that's associated with it, what you do is you total up all those points. And then you compare that total to the grade classification table in the manual. That tells you what GS level your position description qualifies for. Nowadays, when I sit down to write a position description for, say, a GS13, the first thing I do is figure out how many points do I need. That basically tells me what levels I've got to hit for each factor. And then it's just a matter of using the right words from the right part of the manual. Now, with all this information, writing a position description should be a breeze, but I know that some people like to have an example to work from. Well, I've said it before, and you'll get sick of hearing me say it, but do not Google federal documents. All you're going to do is get garbage that does not represent the official federal position. Instead, what you really want to do is go to the official repository for position descriptions. This is a website called FastClass, and it has literally thousands of position descriptions in whatever job classification you're working on. You can put in an occupational series or a GS level, and you get hundreds of examples that have been approved. So listen, I know that the process of writing a position description can be intimidating, but with the tools we learned today, you should be able to knock out a high-quality position description in no time, and one that flabbergasts your boss at how good you are at this. In the meantime, if you're interested in how you can use this to write your own federal resume, watch this video.